Voice of America, this is Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is the Voice of America. How do you hear me?
Voice of America, this is the International Space Station. We've got you loud and clear. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Shall I begin the interview now?
Go for it.
Okay, great. First of all, Tracy, Doug, and Shannon, thank you so much for your time today. I have to say this is incredibly exciting, and congratulations to you on your successful mission so far, because I can tell you that we were all watching the repair mission, and we're very excited about everything that you did. And I understand that a resupply vehicle docked a few days ago, and I was wondering if there were personal care packages on board, or what was on there that you might have been most excited about getting.
Well, Suzanne, yes, there usually are a few personal care packages on board. We've got a great psych support team at home that really takes care of us, and family and friends who help supply little goodies for us. I happen to have celebrated a birthday on orbit along with my two other Russian crewmates, and inside my care package were a number of birthday presents from my parents, my husband, and a whole host of friends back home.
And were there items on board for the rest of you that you were excited about getting into?
No, just Tracy. No, just kidding. Actually, the most exciting thing for me, Suzanne, was the right on the very top as you open the hatch, there are fresh fruits and vegetables that are in there that we have gone months without being able to smell the smell of a fresh apple or something, and so that was very exciting. It was just really a joy to have those fresh fruits and vegetables on board.
What was the first one you bit into?
A nice juicy apple, and it was wonderful.
So that brings me to a topic that our audience is really interested in, including a lot of our Facebook fans. And they're wondering about the logistics of day-to-day life on the ISS. And they're curious about how is it possible, how do you eat in zero gravity, and how do you sleep in zero gravity?
Well, eating is very similar to eating on Earth. Of course, there's no gravity, so your food does float around. So you have to be a little bit more careful that it doesn't go flying off your fork or spoon and flying away from you. But the foods we eat are either military rations or rehydratable foods that are created for us at the Johnson Space Center. So they're pretty tasty and pretty good, but you do have to make sure that you sort of keep everything contained so it doesn't leave you while you're trying to consume it. As far as sleeping goes, we have sleeping bags that we sleep in, and they are positioned in our little quarters. We have our own little areas that we call our own that we can sleep in. And my sleeping bag is affixed to a wall, and I climb inside and sort of float around in the sleeping bag at night while I'm sleeping.
Is it affixed on two sides, or can your sleeping bag almost fold up like a Murphy's bed and then knock you into the side?
Well, it's actually fixed in 2 points, but it does stay open, so I don't have a problem with it rolling me up when I don't want to be rolled up.
And I'm curious about how you adapt to living in such a confined space, though I have to say I was surprised when I read in Shannon's blog that you can actually get lost in the ISS, and at times it's confusing because you guys actually see things, sometimes you're upside down when you encounter them.
Yeah, that's quite true. It's actually kind of neat. The volume of the place, sort of perception-wise, is much greater as you live here for an extended period of time, because you can enter a module in any one of a number of orientations, and it just looks a little different. And so it almost perceptibly it increases the volume of your living space because you have a different perception of each module.
And I'm curious about what things that you've felt have happened to your body, given that you've been up there for such a long duration. Shannon, I think you mentioned in a blog that you found that your spine lengthened. I was wondering what other things you all have encountered and how these things affect your day-to-day life.
Well, Suzanne, I think we've all experienced a little weight loss, and a lot of our countermeasures, the resistive exercise, the cardiovascular work that we do helps to lessen the effects of those things that we feel. But yeah, I think that we all have felt a little weight loss. When you first arrive, that's probably when you feel it the most. You feel achy a little bit from the probably a little bit from the ride up, but also vestibularly, as your brain starts to get accustomed to the new messages that it's getting from your inner ear, you have a lot of awareness of of your stomach, as well as, like Doug was saying, when you go into a module, your perception of that module will be determined a lot by how your brain is interpreting the fluid in your ear. You also experience a lot of stuffiness because, I believe, because your fluid now in your body is shifting. It's floating along with you, along with your organs, and it wasn't doing that before you got here. And so a lot of those feelings you have when you first get here, probably within the first 3 weeks before it starts to settle down. Can you guys think of anything else?
Over time, does it almost start to feel normal up there?
Yeah, after a period of time, I think for me it took about 30 days to where I really felt like I could come into a module, whether I'm looking, I'm on the ceiling or the deck or the starboard or port side. It didn't really matter, and your brain can just very quickly adapt to the orientation you're coming in. It takes about 30 days, something like that. And after that period of time, then you begin to wonder about, boy, what's it going to be like when I get back under gravity and get back home, and I can't do this I can't crawl on the ceiling in my home, and so we tend to be thinking about those things now. Tracy and her crew are coming back to the Earth next week, and I know that they begin to think about those things and how gravity will begin to affect them next week.
Well, I'm curious as to what are some of the most amazing things that you've seen up there from space, and what do you think you're going to miss the most about it once you come back down to Earth for the two of you that are coming back down next week?
Well, gosh, some of the most amazing things I've seen, of course, are the views out the window. And our cupola window is in its infancy here on board the space station, so we get to enjoy that view. Some of us, we are one of the first crews, not the first, but one of the first crews to get to enjoy that view. And I can't tell you how miraculous it is to get. The view of the Earth engulfs you when you're inside that cupola, and to get that view anytime, and to be here for the duration that we are, to be able to look at that view just about any time we want to is one of the most gracious gifts we've been given up here. So I'd have to say that is one of the most fantastic things about being here. And what was the other question? What are you going to miss? Oh, what am I going to miss? That is what I'm going to miss a lot. I'm going to miss that view a lot, and I think that especially when the sun goes down and the view doesn't get any less spectacular, that's for sure. It's actually kind of magical, and some of our great photographers here on orbit have captured views of the aurora. I wish we could get a view of the Milky Way because it's astonishing from here, and then just the sun rising and setting, and the way it looks on this planet makes it look like the most peaceful thing you've ever seen.
Okay, well, that's all my time, and I just wanted to thank you again so much and to wish you the best of luck for the rest of your mission and for your arrival back down here to Earth.
Well, thank you so much for joining us aboard the International Space Station, and all our best wishes to all the listeners and viewers of Voice of America.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the Voice of America portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from ABC News.
Station, this is ABC News. How do you hear me?
ABC News, this is the International Space Station. Welcome aboard. We hear you loud and clear.
Well, this morning we had the advantage of seeing that spectacular video of those hurricanes swirling around in the Atlantic. And one mission for the space station is Earth observations. Would you guys give me each an impression of what you've seen while you've been up there, of the hurricanes and other events on Earth that have stuck out in your mind?
Well, there are so many, but you're right. The hurricanes are just unbelievable. I mean, just the size. This morning, Shannon and I were able to take a few moments to go to the cupola. We looked right into the eye of Hurricane Igor, which is just absolutely fantastic. The view, we could see the water right through the of the Atlantic Ocean, right down through the eye, and it was spectacular. And it really just takes your breath away. It's no words to describe it, and we try to capture it in pictures, but I wish that I could blink my eyes and take a photo of what my eyes are seeing, because a picture surely doesn't do it justice.
Shannon, Tracy, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, of course, the hurricanes are spectacular, and I think one of the things that always impresses me is the impacts humans have on the Earth. When we fly over, we can see all the cities, especially at night with all the city lights, and you can see where people are everywhere. And then you can also see things like fires burning and other things going on. So that always impresses me, to see how we're affecting our planet.
Now,
And Gina, some of the most amazing things I've seen have been when the sun is set, and when especially the moon is setting. If the moon is out, it doesn't need to be a full moon. It could be a sliver of the moon. And when it's setting beyond the horizon, it's really interesting, the shape that it takes as well as the color. And it almost is just as it passes the limb, the terminator, it turns this bright orange, and it almost looks like it's a branding iron on a calf. It's that hot orange color, and it's quite distorted, and it looks amazing, and it catches your eye if you're not prepared for it. And then I have to say, the other astonishing thing is when there is a lightning storm beneath us, it lights up the whole space station as if there were a strobe light underneath us. So those are two very unexpected and pretty fantastic views.
This question may seem a little redundant, but Scott Kelly, who's headed your way next month, gave us a tour of the space station mock-up at JSC. We were all a little surprised at just how small the sleeping quarters are on the space station. He describes it more like a phone booth than a bedroom. I mean, you guys you've been there, you've slept there. How would you describe it to us? Looks a little cramped.
Yeah, that's what I've described it to the children and the students I've talked to as a phone booth. But then they look at me like, we don't know what a phone booth is, because we don't have phone booths anymore. But it's about like that. But the thing that you have to remember is, in the absence of gravity, every cubic inch of that phone booth is usable space now. So you can put things on the ceiling, you can have things on the floor, on all the walls, and you can have your sleeping bag on the wall. And so the phone booth becomes maybe 50% larger in perception once you take away gravity.
Now, Shannon, when I watch the daily ISS hour, it seems that maintenance takes a lot of time on the space station. Oh, and one note, someone just emailed me to congratulate you on the Rice Owls win. So, but tell me a little bit about the maintenance.
Well, it's good to know that Rice won. I hadn't heard that yet. Maintenance, yes, of course, does take a lot of effort to maintain the station. Just like a house at home, there are things that have to be done. Every week we have to make sure our filters are clean so our atmosphere is breathable to us, and we have to keep all the parts and pieces in good working order, because it's a long way to a hardware store to buy things, to get things to fix parts up here. So we spend a lot of effort to make sure that we can keep it running as smoothly as possible.
Now, Tracy and Wheels, you pulled off 3 remarkable spacewalks on short notice earlier this year. What were those? They seemed like such a big challenge, but when you went out there, what you go, oh boy, I hope I can pull this one off? What was it for you?
Oh, yeah, you bet. That was definitely a thought. But I'd have to say that all of us had our head in the game when this came up. We train a lot for, failures like we experienced there with the pump module. And so pretty much our training kicked in our response to that. And as a crew, I think we worked really well together to with the ground teams as well to get ourselves into a safe configuration. But then going out to do the spacewalks, we were preparing to do another spacewalk before this pump module failure. So I think our head was already in the spacewalking game. I think Shannon was the one that had a little bit of surprise. She wasn't prepared to do robotics just yet, but she pulled that off beautifully. And I'd have to say that going out the door, we all just felt pretty focused. And when you realized, you feel the vibe from the teams on the ground that are doing a lot of the work to prepare us to go out the hatch. That feeling, it radiates and it comes up. You can feel it here on orbit, and I think that helped to set our mind where it needed to be to go out and do this pretty critical task.
Tracy, while you've got the mic, I know you're headed home soon. What will you miss most about living in space, and what will you miss the least?
Oh, Gina, there's going to be a lot that I miss. I'm going to miss these guys. I'm going to miss all my crewmates, because as soon as I land, if we land in our primary landing spot, I get on a plane and I come right back to Houston, and my two Russian crewmates who I've spent all my time with, I won't be able to see for a couple of weeks. I'm definitely going to miss the views. I don't think there's a time I can enter the cupola with the intent of staring at the views and not get a little choked up thinking this might be the last time. But then I'm also encouraged by the fact that not too many people get to see that view, and I try to take it in, and so much so that I can help describe it to folks when I come back and help them feel a little bit of it. The one thing I'm not going to miss is the lack of longevity in my toothbrush. I'm really looking forward to having running water, and we can create running water out here, but it comes with some consequence. So I'd have to say there's a lot more that I'm going to miss about this place than not.
Doug, I think I have time for one more question, and I hate to throw this to you. It seems complicated, but how do you describe the mission of the space station to people down on Earth who maybe don't quite get what you guys do up there?
Well, probably the most important thing for us right now is we are finally getting to full utilization of this orbiting laboratory, and it's been a long haul. It's been very expensive. It's been we've run into surprises around the corner as we've assembled this space station. It's taken us longer than we thought to get it up into full utilization, but we're just now entering that phase where we've got laboratories up and running. We've got over 130 experiments that we're operating on board, and so we're starting to really get the bang for our buck in the way of science. And that's very exciting to us because it's been a long phase of assembly, and right now we're trying to just bring back the science data that we need to our scientists on the ground that will make life better on Earth for everyone. We're doing experiments in medicine and fluid mechanics, different ways to refine materials and to build new materials. And so it's very, very exciting to enter this phase of full science on board.
Expedition 24, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you so much, ABC.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Voice of America and ABC News. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.